started 28. Janie and I started 28 Row back in 2018. We really wanted to build a network of college influencers. We realized how many brands did not have the resources to go after this college demographic and the importance of it. And so we set out to build this network. It was like finding a needle in a haystack, and it took us about 18 months to really develop the network. Today, we have over 600 influencers at over 150 universities nationwide. And we work with brands like H&M and Cotton On and Elf Cosmetics and French Connection. And we recently launched an app, which is supporting the 28 Row community. It's not an app for influencers. It's an app for all college women nationwide. And the reason why I'm giving you this background is because we're going to talk about the importance of reaching this demographic and kind of sharing that we're getting so much information from them. We speak to the community every day. We know what they care about, and we're seeing what they're reacting to. So that's me. I'll let Janie introduce herself, although I kind of just stole and introduced
No, that
you.
was perfect. That was before I even put the slide up.
Perfect.
I'm Janie Karas. I am the managing director. I founded 28 Row with Cindy, and I pretty much manage all the campaigns we run. So getting product in the hands of our influencers, making sure they post, and making sure campaigns run smoothly. And then Olivia is our community manager, and she's, I'll let you introduce yourself, Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia McGalley. I'm the community manager at 28 Row. I originally was one of the girls in the network, like we talked about, the influencer network. That's how I started years ago. And then I was a community management intern, and now I have this lovely role. So I get to play a big part in running our app. So a lot of content creation, a lot of keeping conversations going, but you'll see more of that as we get into the presentation.
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Perfect. So Cindy pretty much covered what our network is. So I'll just go past these two slides. And
we could talk a little bit about this demographic and why, I mean, obviously why you're all here today is to learn more about this demographic and how best to interact with them and target them. And, you know, I think you either there's the knowledge of the spending power of this demo and why it's so important to build brand loyalty with them at this pivotal time. They are now making purchase decisions for the first time on their own, and they're establishing brand loyalty. You know, you think back to that time in college and you're like, oh, I love that brand from college. That sticks with you. And that's why it's so important. And you're not talking about a bunch of broke college students. Like, their spending power of this demographic is incredible. They've over $376 billion of which they're spending. And 131 billion is discretionary. So they really do have, we are seeing from working with this demographic for over the last 2.5 years, they're buying, they are shopping, they are discovering brands that they love, and they are going back to them over and over again. So it is really important that you establish some sort of brand connection with them at this stage in their lives. What do they care about? It's a little bit different than an older consumer. They really care about authenticity. They care about knowing what a brand stands for, and they want the veil removed, and they want to be behind the scenes. They care about culturally relevant causes. So if you are a brand that has a mission, lean into it when speaking to this demographic, because it really does matter to them. And online presence, whether it's your Instagram or your TikTok or your e-com, that's many of them are making their purchases online. Pre-COVID, they were doing that. Now more than ever, they're making their purchases online. So establishing a really strong presence, and also value purchases. They love a discount code. it's all about peer-to-peer recommendations for them. That is a very true statement. We're hearing from them when we ask how they discover brands. They are discovering brands from their friends, from their classmates, their sisters, so it's definitely an important making sure that you're reaching out to them and really encouraging them. If you do decide that you want to develop an influencer campaign, reaching out to one of them and establishing that is a great opportunity to get them to support the brand, supporting it through their friends. In general, they are friends. They congregate with friends who care about the same causes. They're likely to follow the same account on social. So if you have a great social presence and you get one of them, you'll probably get a lot more of them. And they're supporting brands that their fellow peers are supporting. So sharing what your brand mission is about, the authenticity of the brand, is a really important way to engage them and get them to support the brand.
So we're just going to share some best practices from campaigns that we run with our brand partners, and we'll just share a few case studies. So this is a campaign we ran for e.l.f. Cosmetics. We selected about 25 women in our network, and they were all required to post one image on Instagram with their e.l.f. Cosmetics products. So all of them received their own discount code. And the sales we saw from this campaign were through the roof. There was over 3,000% ROI for e.l.f. e.l.f. shared with us that it was one of the best influencer campaigns they've ever run. And it's really because, one, authenticity, of course, seeing their friends post about something, they're more likely to, check out the website and support their friends than they would, an ad or someone they don't know. And the discount code really helps them to stop scrolling on their feed and go to that website and make that purchase and take that opportunity to get that discount. We also use discount codes to track conversions of each influencer, so we can then use that influencer in the next campaign. So we know who are the top converters, and then who's not doing so well, we can, just use the girls that are doing the best in the next campaign. Okay, so this is a campaign we ran for H&M. H&M was launching their Kangol collaboration, and we chose a group of 15 diverse women in our network. And there were only 15 influencers. I think the numbers speak for themselves here. There was over 107,000 impressions and almost a 30% engagement rate. So you can really tell here that followers that see themselves represented feel heard and they're excited to see real women in an ad and wearing clothes. It makes them feel seen.
Women like them, peers that feel like that could be my best friend. That could be someone that I go to school with. In some cases it is. And I think also we do a lot at Krupp Group. We work a lot with influencers, real influencers versus, the college demographic with huge followings, with, followings of 500,000, 1 million followers. And there's such an inauthentic conversation going on there where we never get an engagement rate this high of 29% when we're doing something with even macro influencers, because the community that's following them are not their friends. They're not their peers. It's not their aunt. It's not their mother who's really engaged in the conversation. So even as Janie mentioned, this was 15 women. For a 29% engagement rate with 15 women is pretty outstanding. And I think it just shows the power of this community and their ability to motivate each other. And so when you show them someone that represents them, it's such an important way to get them to not only make the purchase, but engage with your brand. And again, at the end of the day, building brand loyalty should be the number one priority when reaching out to this demographic.
For sure. So this is a great example of getting your brand ethos across in messaging. So this was a campaign we ran for Ava NYC, which is a hair care brand. They were launching their 100% recyclable packaging, and they put up this mural in Brooklyn. And as you can see in these images, the product isn't even in these photos. It's really just about getting the messaging across in a very clear way. So it's very obvious that, you know, they're talking about sustainability here and recycling. So again, we saw it was just 10 of the influencers in our network, and there was 128,000 impressions, a 20% engagement rate, over 7,000 reactions. So the authenticity, the messaging, like this demographic can really see through
BS.
Yeah, I don't want to say that word, but that's what I mean. So yeah. Do you have
And I think this was also a great example of where the product was not represented intentionally when we came up with the strategy with the brand. The product was not what they wanted at the forefront. It's a beautiful packaging, but at the end of the day, it's small, it's beauty. And they really wanted their cause and their mission heard. And so creating this beautiful graffiti wall and really creating this Instagrammable moment that then ignited a conversation about sustainability. And again, led back to the fact that they are now have new sustainable packaging. But so it doesn't always, it's okay to think outside the box. It doesn't always have to be a girl wearing the clothing or a woman wearing the clothing or holding the product. If you have a really important brand message or a cause that you really want to support, there's many creative ways to push that to the forefront. And sometimes that even feels more authentic and more compelling because you're trying to share your message versus just pushing a product. So lean into that. Not every brand has that, but if you do, that's a really good thing to lean into.
So I know we keep talking about peer-to-peer recommendations, but we just wanted to share an example with you about one of these conversations. On our app, Cindy mentioned it before, it's a community for college women, not just influencers. And we have different groups on our app. So we have a fashion group, we have a beauty group, and in the fashion group, and a bunch of other groups, it's a lot of these college women just asking for advice on brands and products to purchase. So we see, you know, every day, tons of women just asking for recommendations. So this is an example of Kaylee. She's asking everyone on our app where she can get mid-calf boots. And you can see the responses from everyone chiming in with their favorite brands. And so it's not even just about someone asking for a recommendation. The community loves responding to it also and sharing their favorite brands that they feel passionate about. So it's just really important that your brand is a part of these conversations.
And I think this is a really good example of, you know, these women are digitally native. They've been on social media their entire lives, and they're a bit skeptical of ads, especially ads with models. They much prefer getting an in real life recommendation. They really listen to their influencers and their friends, and they actually do their research before making a purchase. So it's really, if this demographic is important to you, it's not about a banner ad with a model in it. It really is about something that feels behind the scenes for them, like they're privy to this best kept secret.
Yeah. So that's all we had to share.
I'll recap a little bit because
okay.
we jumped around. We talked again about, you know, they really care about causes, from social justice to sustainability issues and everything in between. So if you are a brand that has a mission, highlight it on your social, highlight it in your outreach, because they really do respond to that. And they care, and they, you know, this generation, they're holding brands accountable, and they're vocal about the issues that matter to them. And they want to know that when they're buying product, they're buying product from brands that the same causes matter to those brands as well. And as Janie said, you know, if you are going to do some sort of social media push, they want to see themselves represented in the campaign, and whatever, what their peers look like, what their friends look like, they want to feel like they feel heard, and they've been seen. So it's really important to pick women that you're going to feature that aren't, a glossy version of them, but like a real authentic version of them. They're going to respond to that much better. They are spend money on your e-com. They expect an exceptional online experience. They don't have patience for something that's clunky. They expect it to be seamless. So again, if this demographic is important, that's something to definitely invest in. They're strong. Having every brand, we have this conversation with our clients now. TikTok's not just for kids. So it is important. Any brand today needs to have a social presence, which includes TikTok. And it also, if you are reaching an older demographic, this gives you an opportunity to expand your reach. And also posting, if you're posting on social and you have someone that is a community manager for your brand, make sure that they look at who is commenting. And it's a great way to go after this new demographic by commenting on their posts, reposting something that they post if they love a brand. So you really have an opportunity to eavesdrop a bit on the conversation through your social channels. And, we strongly encourage you to. And then, the last thing is, we mentioned discount codes and coupons. They really respond to. So even if it's once a month and then they're shopping from you at full price the rest of the time, or that's how they're discovering your brand, a 20% discount code can really go a long way. And we're really seeing that with the ROIs and the investments that our clients are making. So I definitely encourage brands to, if you can explore that, that's definitely something to explore. Okay. Janie, you want to stop screen sharing and we can see if there's any? Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, we have a question that came to me. It says, how do we reconcile caring for cultural causes and sustainability with buy via discount as we continue to read studies about paying for authenticity?
I'm confused by the question.
Well, I read it as a kid. So, if the person that sent it wants to
clarify
step up and ask, we can do that. But
I don't think discount codes by any means go against, portray some level of inauthenticity. It's just, again, I'm speculating on what the question was a little bit, but I think it's just an opportunity to engage with the brand. I wouldn't hold back on that.
Great. You can put your questions into the chat. You can raise your hand. You can, we're a meeting, you can unhide yourself and ask away. We have great experts here. So if you have a chance to, if you have a question, now's the chance. Got a shy group today, Cindy.
I see that. Well, it's kind of like a Tuesday that's a Monday, or a Monday that's a Tuesday.
The clarity came back. It said it's a, let's see. Is it a mixed message of paying for values at full price? I'm so sorry. Look, the woman who sent it, I do not quite understand, but I'm going to read it.
I think I can take it. I think I understand.
Go for it.
If she has a sustainable brand, it's harder to give a discount on the price. So how can you do both? Is that the question?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a good point, because we do have a number of brands that aren't promotional. They don't discount. They don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't, the discount code is really for conversions. If you want to stop people in their track of scrolling to go to your website, you need a discount code. If you're really just trying to spread brand awareness and get your messaging across, you don't need to stress about it. You don't need to stress, but just don't expect a lot of conversions with this demo without a code.
Are there ways to do it without a discount? Like, could it be a gift with purchase, or, could it be a value equation that doesn't mean I gotta put it on sale.
Olivia, do you want to talk to that?
Sorry, I was unmuting.
Okay.
I totally think that that's fine. We obviously see a lot of success in our discount codes, but in terms of gift with purchase or I don't know, other scenarios, I think
It
that
depends on what the gift with purchase is.
yes,
Yeah.
it is definitely a case to case, but there is a certain success that you see when you incentivize your customers to continue to be customers. So especially with, I mean, I'm Gen Z, so my demographic, we have the spending power, but not the same spending power that you guys have. So that incentive there does help in that way.
And is there a magic percent that moves the needle? I mean, I feel like I get discount
Yeah.
offers all the time, but like, you know, what is it? Is it like,
So-
I see 5%, I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've done our due diligence and we found 20% is
Yeah.
the sweet spot, and then anything above that is obviously amazing too, but anything
on the
below
cake, yeah.
20% they don't care about.
15% is common, but it's not really anything that you're going to see much of a grab at, because when people are doing the math, they're usually like, what is 15% really going to do? But 20, there's something about that extra 5% that makes you seem like you're really getting the deal.
Yeah. And again, that's for conversion to what, what Janie was saying before, that's really about converting to sales. That's not necessarily if your goal is increasing your following, or your goal is really brand awareness of your mission or your company in general. Don't worry so much about the discount code. But if your number one goal is conversion, which it is for many brands, then the discount code really does matter. And also with what we're doing with 28 Row, and again, I encourage brands to, if you have the manpower to execute this on your own, by all means, but we're getting amazing content from our influencers as well. So like for the H&M campaign, H&M then utilized all of that content from the influencers on their own social channels and really promoted that collaboration by utilizing this great imagery that these women created. And again, it's peer to peer. So if H&M has the ability to take those images and then use it on their brand channels, and someone is discovering their brand, they see themselves, they see someone that is like them. And that, again, going back to brand loyalty.
Gotcha. So where does one start? If you're, a small company, is it prohibitive? How can you start to get involved with the process?
I mean, listen, obviously we built 28 Row because we knew there was a need and a demand for it. But if you don't have the means to hire an outside resource, go on social, start to, follow people that you look like, that are in this demographic. You kind of need someone that has some sort of foothold there. And then you go down a rabbit hole. I mean, like I said, it took us about 18 months to build our network. And I think that was about 250 women in the start. And now we've grown significantly, but finding the right women that we felt really embodied our brands, it was hard, but you start with social. I mean, it's all out there. It's just a matter of how do you resource it?
I think that a key point in developing your social too, without having to add so much extra expense, taking on a TikTok intern, like Cindy had said, TikTok is like everything now. And I know so many people my age, younger, obviously looking for internships. That is a great opportunity, not only for the student, but for the company to have someone in the ground on the app that has a great understanding of the app, what's trending, what trends are relative to the brand. That is a great segue into understanding social a little better.
Gotcha. That's great. So you're using TikTok. What other social channels do you pay attention to, Olivia?
Instagram, definitely. Sorry. The thing with Instagram is it's very different than it used to be. It used to be a lot of your friends, and now it's not necessarily just your friends all the time. There are a lot of ads in your face. That's why we like to at least make the ads your friends, so you feel a little more, it feels a little more familiar. Twitter is not really relevant in terms of like advertising and branding, especially for my demographic. We don't use Twitter for anything like that. But the 28 Row app is our newest social, and that is where we're focusing a lot of it now. But other than Instagram and TikTok, that's pretty much where the majority of your branding would be at.
Okay. Hey, Cindy and Janie, you mentioned women all the time. Be like, ladies, women, girls. Is there, if I have a product that's great for men, does it exist? Are they influenceable? It doesn't work.
So when we started out, we were looking for the guys as well. The reality is college boys, men, children, whatever you want to call them, they're not posting photos of themselves all day on Instagram and TikTok. We work with male influencers outside of the college space for a lot of our brands, and those exist, obviously. But what we have found in the college space, none of the young men that we've seen have a following because it's not a big part of how they communicate. So
they're all private and they don't post.
A lot of them are private and they don't post. I mean, I think my son's a senior in college. I think he's posted twice in the last 4 years. And that's kind of the cadence of most college men. Mm-hmm. What we are doing though, because this comes up often, when there is a campaign where they want to promote both the men's and women's product, we'll go to some of our influencers and say, find your male best friend, your boyfriend, your whatever, whoever, and we're going to send him product and we need you to post on your social a photo of the two of you. So we're utilizing her viewing, because the reality is if he has 15 followers and she has 8,000, the 15,000 isn't going to do much for a brand. But seeing her, her followers, seeing him in the product is a value. So that's how we're getting around that. But in general, they're just, the guys in college aren't interested in posting and building the following. It's just not their focus.
Interesting. Very interesting. Cool. Anyone have questions?
I got a question. From Anita, how can I get my brand in front of the college influencers on Instagram? Anita, would you mind clarifying that question a little bit? Do you mean like just college influencers, or how to reach college influencers so they can support your brand? Both. Okay. So if you want to reach college influencers specifically, again, like Cindy said, it's really about going down a rabbit hole. Obviously, we built this network, so if you want to work with us, we have access, and it's just a plug and play. But if you're a smaller brand and you want to do it in-house, just really look. I would start maybe with go to a university page and just start looking at who follows them, and just go down a rabbit hole until you find someone that you think fits with your brand aesthetic, and then shoot them a DM and ask if they want some products, and you can gift them and ask them to post.
Going to the location of the college on Instagram and then the top posts is also a good way to see who gets high engagement and who is tagging that area as well.
Great advice. Anyone
Awesome.
else? Well, thank you, team from 28 Row. And Cindy, nice to see you. And Janie,
always good seeing you.
Again, we recorded this session. It'll be available if you want to replay it or you want to share it with your team. If I want to get in touch with Cindy and Olivia and Janie, how do I do that?
You can just email Janie at 28row.com.
Olivia at 28row.com.
Yeah.
Also through our website, brands can reach out there. We're pretty accessible.
I'm putting it into the chat.
Awesome, thank you. And the other thing, Karen, that I mentioned to you is any accessories council members we do have a job posting board within the app for internships and entry-level positions. So if there are any brands that are looking, we're also happy to share that with the network.
That's great. That's great.
Awesome.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I mean, why not hire an influencer to help you figure out how to be an influencer?
Exactly. Exactly.
right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great afternoon and hopefully we'll get to see
too.
everybody in person soon.
I hope so. Be well. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.